naman ta sa background of Philippine politics ha? So, ano naman ta sa evolution of Philippine politics and governance? Ano ta mo tala?
Si Mikaela, siya mag-report ako.
Sige, tara, tata. Miklang, ano ba ikaw ang evolution of Philippine politics and governance?
So, dali nagsugod ang Philippine politics evolution.
The evolution of Philippine politics, government, and governance. The historical development of Philippine politics and government can be studied through its evolution from the prehistoric period, which contributed to the formation of modern Philippine politics and government. The pre-Spanish government. The early Filipinos had a government which they called barangay. The head or the leader was called the Dato Raha, who was assisted by the elders in the community. All powers of the government were exercised by the Dato Raha. He was the executive, lawgiver, chief judge, and military head. There are three social classes at the time, namely the Maharlika or nobles, the Timawas or freemen, and the Alipin or slaves. The Dato or the Raha came from the Maharlika or the upper classes. The Maharlika or nobles. The Timawas or freemen. The Maharlika or Timawa, intermediate class of men who had enough land, those who rendered services to the rulers and do not work in fields. There are the communers. They can own their own land and do not have to pay a regular tribute. The Alipin or slaves. The Alipin or Oripin, those who are unable to pay their debts, punish criminals and illegitimate children. Slavery is a system where humans are treated as property by forcing them to do work for their masters no matter if this will cost their life. Lastly is the Dato or the Raha. Government in the Philippines under the Spanish rule. The Philippines was governed indirectly by the King of Spain through the Viceroy of Mexico. When Mexico, also a former colony of Spain, gained her freedom in 1821, the Philippines was ruled directly by Spain until 1898. The government established in the Philippines was centralized. The national government was headed by a Spanish governor-general, who was appointed by the King of Spain. The governor-general was at times called the representative of the King of Spain or the Little King in the Philippines. In theory, he was the highest government official in the country and practiced philocracy, rules of friars existed, thus overpowering the governor-general. Below the national government was the alcaldía or provinces, headed by the alcalde mayor. The pueblos or towns, which were led by the gobernadorcillo or little governor, and the barangay, which were led by the cabeza de barangay. Andres Bonifacio organized the Katipunan, a secret revolutionary organization of the Filipinos. Its aim was a complete separation from Spain. It precipitated the Philippine Revolutions on August 26, 1896 or De Leon and De Leon 2014. It was replaced by another government when it was discovered by the Spanish authorities. The new government was headed by General Emilio Aguinaldo as president in the Tejeros Conventions held on March 22 to 23, 1897. The revolutionary group who was organized by Andres Bonifacio, the KKK, which means the Kataas-taasan, Kagalang-galangan, Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. The Biak na Bato Republic was created by General Aguinaldo on November 1, 1897. Its aims was separation from Spain and formation of the Philippines as an independent state. The republic existed until December 15, 1897, with the signing of the Pact of Biak na Bato. It resulted in the revolutionary exile of Aguinaldo and his men to Hong Kong, provided that General Primo de Rivera would pay $800,000 on May 24, 1889. General Aguinaldo established a dictatorial government when he returned from his exile in Hong Kong. The notable achievement of the dictatorial government were the proclamation of Philippine independence at Kawit, Cavite on June 12, 1898, and the reorganization of local governments. A revolutionary government replaced the dictatorial government still with General Aguinaldo as the head. On January 23, 1899, the First Philippine Republic was established with General Aguinaldo as the president.
Sure! Tara!
Philippine government during the American regime. The Americans started the military rule in the Philippines on August 14, 1898. The President of the United States delegated this authority to the military governor, who exercised all powers of government until the war lasted, executive, legislative, and judiciary. The Spooner Amendment ended the military regime in the Philippines. It was changed to civil government headed by a civil governor on July 4, 1901. The title was changed to the Governor General on February 6, 1905. The Governor General has legislative powers and he was the President of the Philippines Commission from 1901 to 1907. The Philippine Commission was the sole law-making body of the government. Eventually, this became the upper house of the legislative department of the Philippines, assembly created by the Philippine Bill of 1902 as the lower chamber. The Jones Law of 1916, which became the fundamental law for the Philippines, vested the legislative power in an all-Filipino law-making body composed of the Philippine Senate and the House of Representatives. The Commonwealth Government. The Tydings-McDuffie Law in 1934 established the Commonwealth Government. It was a form of government in transition toward independence. It provided for a 10-year transition period after which the Philippine independence would be proclaimed and established. The Commonwealth government was inaugurated on November 15, 1935. The first national election in the country was held on September 12, 1935. Manuel L. Quezon was the president and his vice president was Sergio Osmeña. The Commonwealth government functioned in exile during World War II in Washington, USA, from the re-established in Manila on February 27, 1945. The USA turned over to the Filipino president the full powers and responsibilities of the Commonwealth government under the 1935 Constitution. President Manuel L. Quezon and his Vice President Sergio Osmeña. The government under the Japanese occupation. The Japanese military administration was established in Manila on January 3, 1942. A civil government which was called the Philippine Executive Commission was established with George B. Vargas as chairman. It had the legislative and executive powers, but laws enacted through were subject to approval by the Commander-in-Chief of the Japanese forces. On October 14, 1943, the Japanese-sponsored Philippine Republic with Jose P. Laurel as the president was inaugurated. The Presidents of the Philippines. Since independence in 1898, the ratification of Philippine Constitution and the First Republic, there have been 16 presidents, starting with General Emilio Aguinaldo all the way to current President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. The first President of the Philippines, General Emilio Aguinaldo. The second President of the Philippines, Manuel L. Quezon. The third President of the Philippines, Jose P. Laurel.
Tabihan ninyo about sa Philippine politics of evolution.
Kato? Nang gamay na sabta na to. Sergio Osmeña. Sergio Osmeña was the second president of the Commonwealth. During his presidency, the Philippines joined the International Monetary Fund. Sergio Osmeña became president at 65, making him the oldest person to hold office. Sergio Osmeña first resigned to become president. He joined with U.S. General Douglas MacArthur and Leyte on October 20, 1944, to begin a restoration of Philippine freedom after Japanese occupation. Philippine National Bank was dead and the country joined the International Monetary Fund during the presidency. Bell Trade Act was approved by the U.S. Congress during his presidency. Appears on the 50 peso bill. President Manuel Rojas. Manuel Rojas was the fifth president of the Philippines, the third and the last president under the Commonwealth, and the first president of the Third Republic of the Philippines. He held office for only 1 year, 10 months, and 18 days. Inaugurated as the first president of the new republic after World War II. Reconstruction from war damage and life without foreign rule began during his presidency. Under his term, the Philippine Rehabilitation Act and Philippine Trade Act laws were accepted by Congress. Appears on the 100 peso bill. President Elpidio Quirino. Elpidio Quirino served as the vice president under Manuel Rojas. When Rojas died in 1948, Quirino became president. Huk Balahap guerrilla movement active during his presidency. Create Society's Security Commission. Create Integrity Board to monitor graft and corruption. Quezon City became capital of the Philippines in 1948. President Ramon Magsaysay. Ramon Magsaysay was born in Ibal, Zambales. He was a military governor and an engineer. He died in an aircraft disaster while boarding the presidential plane. Huk Balahap movement quelled during his presidency. Chairman of the Committee on Guerrilla Affairs, first president sworn into office wearing Barong Tagalog during inauguration. Presidency refers to the Philippine Golden Years for its lack of corruption. Philippines was ranked second in Asia's clean and well-governed countries during his presidency. Established National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration or NARA, among other agrarian reforms. President Carlos P. Garcia, a lawyer, poet, and teacher. Carlos P. Garcia also served as the guerrilla leader during the Pacific War. Born in Bohol, Garcia served as Vice President under Ramon Magsaysay and as Secretary of Foreign Affairs for 4 years. He became president when Magsaysay died in 1957. Known for Filipino First policy, which favored Filipino businesses over foreign investors. President Diosdado Macapagal. Born in Lubao, Pampanga, Diosdado Macapagal was a lawyer and professor. His daughter Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was the 14th and the second female president of the Philippines. He established the first land reform law, allowing for the purchase of private farmland to be distributed in expensive small lots to the landless. Ferdinand Marcos. Born in Sarat, Ilocos Norte, Ferdinand Adralin Marcos was a lawyer and Senate President for 3 years. He was President for 21 years. He ruled under martial law and his dictator story was known for its corruption and brutality. Marcos was removed from office after the People Power Revolution. First president to win a second term, declared martial law on September 22, 1972. Corazon Aquino, the first woman president of the Philippines and the first woman to become president of an Asian country. Corazon Aquino was born in Paniki, Tarlac. She was a prominent figure in the People Power Revolution that brought down Ferdinand Marcos. Textile story. Her husband, Benigno Aquino Jr., was a senator during the Marcos regime and its strongest critic. He was assassinated while Marcos was still in power. President Fidel V. Ramos. Fidel V. Ramos was the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines before he became president. He was also a civil engineer. As president, he restored economic growth and stability in the country, even during the Asian financial crisis in 1997. He is the first and so far the only non-Catholic president of the Philippines. Oversaw Philippine economic growth. President over celebrations of Philippine independence centennial and 1998. President Joseph Estrada, known as Irap, Joseph Estrada was the first president who had been a famous film actor. His presidency was controversial during his years in office. Economic growth was slow and he faced impeachment proceedings. He was ousted from the presidency in 2001. He was later convicted as stealing from the government but was pardoned. He ran unsuccessfully for president in 2010. During the presidency, Moro Islamic Liberation from headquarters and campus were captured. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was the 14th president of the Philippines and the second female president. The awkward mutiny occurred during her term. Arroyo oversaw road and infrastructure improvement and higher economic growth than president before her. But there was also controversy. The so-called Hello Guard controversy involved recording that allegedly captured Arroyo ordering the rigging of the election that put her in the office. In 2005, Arroyo faced impeachment proceeding related to the recordings, but the impeachment failed. After she has left office, Arroyo faced additional charge of election fraud and misuse of state funds. Second female president of the Philippines. First and only female vice president of the Philippines so far. First president to take oath outside Luzon. President Benigno Aquino III. Benigno Aquino III joined the House of Representatives and the Senate before his presidency. He is the first president who is bachelor, is unmarried, and has no children. He created the No Wang Wang or the Street Siren Policy, appointed statesman Jose Robredo to serve as Secretary of Interior and Local Government in 2010, where Robredo served until his death in 2012. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Rodrigo Roa Duterte, born in March 28, 1945, also known as Tigong and Rode, is a Filipino politician who is the 16th and incumbent president of the Philippines and the first from Mindanao to hold the office. He is the chairperson of PDP Laban, the ruling political party in the Philippines. Duterte took office at age 71 on June 30, 2016, making him the oldest person to assume the Philippine presidency. The record was previously held of Sergio Osmeña at the age of 65. Born in Maasim, Southern Leyte, Duterte studied political science at the Lyceum of the Philippine University, graduating in 1968 before obtaining a law degree from San Beda College of Law in 1972. Then worked as a lawyer and was a prosecutor for Davao City before becoming vice mayor and subsequently mayor of the city in the wake of the Philippine Revolution of 1986. Duterte won 7 terms and served as a mayor of Davao for over 22 years. Thank you very much, ma'am.